Welcome to the Edinburgh Bookshop on the sofa with Jess Kidd and your book, The Hoarder. Thank you so much for coming to see us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're so welcome. Yeah. Would you read a little bit from your book, please?
I'd love to. This is from the start. He has a curious way of moving through his rubbish. He leans into it, skimming down the corridors like a fearless biker on a hairpin bend. He gallops and vaults through the valleys and hills, canters and bobs through the outcrops and gorges of his improbable hoardings. Now and then he stops to climb over an obstacle, folding his long legs like picnic chairs. And all the while his chin juts up and out, and his body hangs beneath it, as if his grizzled jaw is wired to an invisible puppeteer. And all the while the backs of his big, gnarly hands brush over the surfaces. For a tall man and an old man, he can shift himself when he wants to. I don't move like that. I wade, tripping over boxes and piles of mildewing curtains, getting caught in cables, hooked on hat stands, and assaulted by rutting ironing boards. I flounder over records, books, stained blankets, greasy collections of plastic bags, garden forks, antique mangles, a woman's patent leather shoe, and an open blender that also grates and peels, and cats of all kinds, ginger, black, brindle, tabby and piebald, cats sleeping, eyeing, scratching and licking their asses on sour cushions, humping under upturned boxes and crapping on great drifts of newspaper. I try not to look at the details, but some little thing always catches my eye. A dead mouse curled in a teacup, a headless ceramic dray horse, a mannequin's pink severed limb, that sort of thing. I have a morbid bent. He's staring at me from the kitchen door, Mr. Cahill Flood, 3 feet taller than usual because he's standing on a mound of discarded carpet tiles. This makes him a giant because he's already a fair height. A long, thin, raw-boned, polluted old giant. The set of eyes he has trained on me are deep-socketed and unnervingly pale. The pale, pale boreal blue of an Arctic hound. You had no business throwing out the curtains and so forth. He talks slowly and over loudly as if he's testing his voice. All my things gone and I had a need for them. I turn to him, breathing like Darth Vader through my mask, and shrug. I hope my shrug communicates a profound respect for his discarded possessions, 20 refuse sacks of empty sardine tins, combined with a regretful need for practical living. He narrows his gimlet eyes. You're a little shit, aren't you? I pull off my mask. I wanted to find your cooker, Mr. Flood. I thought we might branch out, give the microwave a bit of a break. He watches me, his mouth tight with venom. I could curse you, he says, with a hint of a sob in his frayed brogue. I could curse you to hell.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
What are you most sort of pleased with or proud of with this book?
I think this book marks a transition from me writing as a third-person writer to first-person, but also a smaller cast of characters because himself had quite a big cast. And so I was really interested to really get inside the character of Mordren and the care worker who's the main character, but also in using these characters and working out the dynamics between them. So that was a real intrigue. So I was very proud to do that, and also to watch the friendships that develop through the book, which are the core of the book, really.
Yeah, nice. Getting into your characters.
Definitely getting obsessed with the characters.
Nice.
And the lovely Mr. Flood as well.
Yeah, he's an amazing character.
Yeah. I mean, with him I actually set out to write someone who was supremely unlikable and challenging, but also to unpick why and the wherefore of it and what makes him so complex. And part of the way of sort of opening him up was to use some humour as well, so hopefully make him quite likeable ultimately through that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Now, would you like to pick a question from
the hat?
The cat's
yeah,
hat.
We do.
Yeah.
I won't pee. I What else? What else am I doing whilst in Edinburgh? Well, I've just done an event with Joanna Cannon for the festival, which was amazing, fantastic audience, and it was just great. Joanna Cannon's book, Three Things About Elsie, was fantastic because there's so much of a crossover between the two books. I mean, they're both books that put older people in the core of the book, at the centre of the book, but they also explore this sort of marginalised voices and giving voice to characters, and they both have kind of crazy road trips, which I quite enjoy. Yeah.
Nice. Another one.
I won't peep again. I sort of did. Oh, what have I enjoyed reading recently? Recently, I've just been reading a huge amount of sort of research material. So I'm writing my third book, which is set in Victorian London. And so I suppose in that way I've been trying to kind of immerse myself in that kind of genre. And I went back and looked at Shel Faber's Crimson Petal and the White through that, and so I really enjoyed that. It's like different time periods, but so all of that really. So I think once now we're in the final stage of the copy edit. Once that's finished, I'm just going to catch up because I've got a pile of to be read, and that are really nice. Yeah, definitely
Nice.
Okay. Cool. What are your hopes for your book? This is really interesting. I think they've already happened, really, because with the Hoarder, I suppose I did in a way want to put out the idea of the importance of friendship and also seeing older people as vital, complex members of the community, especially where they're potentially isolated, and also to explore hoarding disorder as an entity in its own right. And so the response to the book has been really positive. I did do some research in terms of talking to people who were receiving treatment or going to support groups for hoarding disorder to get a proper picture of it before I tackled it. And I've had a few readers who've come up and sort of said, I mean, there's the side of people saying, well, you're either the hoarder or you know the hoarder, but a few people have sort of said, well, it just helped me find a way into a relative who might be experiencing difficulties with this kind of thing. So I suppose the hopes for any book are that it's going to connect with a reader and feel like it's going to chime in their life in some way and have some essential truth in there that people can relate to. So if that's already happened, yes, that's all I want.
Yeah, how nice. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Should we do one more?
One more. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Where is your favourite place for reading and for writing? I mean, I can pretty much write anywhere, but I like the first draft of anything to be somewhere quite quiet. But then editing, there's a few cafes in my local area that just got the right level of noise that really helps with the process. And reading anywhere as well. So, but I don't really need to sit down at the desk, have a special pen or anything like that, because I think I've worked around jobs and around bringing up my daughter, so I've never really got into that. So pretty much anywhere, any place, any time.
Great. Nice. And so you have a new book coming soon?
I do. Yes. Yeah. The new book is going to be published in April next year, and it's called Things in Jars. So it's set in Victorian London, and it's been a complete blast to write. It's been so much fun, and what I was setting out to do is to again give a really immersive feeling with some really interesting characters. So it's a slightly larger cast again, but it's just been phenomenal fun to write. So I'm hoping people like it and enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And The Hoarder is, of course, available now.
Yes, it
in
is.
your friendly local bookstore, yeah?
And it's coming to paperback, I think, in October.
Paperback in October. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming to see us and talking to us today.
Thank you.